What's up, guys? Higgins in Japan here with another edition of the Friday video. The Friday video thing is the video that I usually make in my car on the way home from work on Fridays, but as you can tell, this is not my car and I'm not driving on the way home from work. That's because I wanted to do a couple of things that would be technically impossible or really difficult or slightly dangerous to do while driving. And so we're going to get to that in just a second, but first I wanted to say a huge thank you to you guys that have subscribed. Pushed my channel over the 1,000 subscriber mark, and I really do appreciate it. It was something that I wanted to accomplish by this year, and didn't realize that it was going to happen so quickly. So thank you guys very much. Huge shout out to Victor. Give me a break, man. I know a lot of people came over from his recommendation, and I really do appreciate that. So thank you guys very much. That being said, Friday videos have been a little bit rambly in the past, right? And so this year we're changing it up and having a theme or something to talk about, and hopefully if you're interested in teaching in Japan, and hopefully if you know somebody who's interested in Japan, hopefully these videos on Friday will maybe help them out, or maybe if you're just interested in what we actually do as English teachers here in Japan, maybe these videos will help you. If not, then there's other videos that you can watch. That being said, I got a question on my previous Friday video about what exactly I teach and what kind of materials I use. So I thought that I would show you guys some of those materials. Now, this is the dangerous part of it. I couldn't really do this in my car, like hold up books and show you guys stuff in the car. That's dangerous. So I decided to come in here in my studio, makeshift studio, and show you guys some of the things that we do as English teachers. So, first, 5th and 6th grade elementary school is the requirement for when English is mandatory. Now, this coming school year, it is going to change to 3rd and 4th grade as well. Just something to be aware of if you're going to be an English teacher in Japan. The thing is, when I originally came to Japan, the town that I lived in had us teaching English classes beginning all the way in kindergarten. And so I've been doing this for a while now, since 2012, and so the idea of teaching more classes or teaching younger students has not really been an issue for me because I've been doing it for such a long time. That being said, the current curriculum for 5th and 6th grade is a program called Hi Friends. You might have seen it, you might have heard about it, you might know what it is, you might not, if you don't know, what we do here in Japan. So basically, Hi Friends 1 and 2, this is Hi Friends 2, so this is for 6th grade. Hi Friends 1 and 2 is basically about 8, and I believe Hi Friends 2 has 8 lessons, Hi Friends 1 has 7, maybe, I forget, or maybe it has 9. But anyways, it doesn't matter. 8 to 9 lessons per book, and each book is broken up into different topics. So, lesson 1 is all about the alphabet, and so you can kind of see what's going on here with the alphabet and all that kind of stuff. And you've got a lot of opportunities to do spelling games and having students be able to recognize letters, having them be able to recognize, words, hey, that's an A, that's a whatever, and it makes this word. So it's like a lot of word recognition. You move through the book. When is your birthday? You've got I can lessons. You've got a directions lesson. You've got a lesson on let's go, like let's go to Italy, let's go to different countries. What time do you get up? So a lesson about time. We Are Good Friends, the story about Momotaro, taught in English. It's a story that they all know already. So it's one of my favorite lessons because not only do you get to read the story of Momotaro, but then I incorporate at the end of the lesson them actually writing their own original Momotaro story and just exchanging some of the words and phrases in the books for their own original thoughts. And that's a really fun thing. A lot of teachers don't like the Momotaro story because they think it's a lot of work. I really enjoy it, but that's just me. So each lesson, it should take you anywhere from 3 to 4-ish weeks to get through each lesson. And so you might have time left over at the end of the year, which you can then do for reviews. You can do other games and activities and stuff like that. But that's elementary school. And some schools don't use this textbook as heavily. Some have their own curriculum. Some have, their own curriculum that they just mix in. My one school, we use this as well as the citywide curriculum, and just kind of mix all that stuff together. So you never really know. You go in and you don't really know what lesson we're going to be teaching or what we're going to be talking about, mostly because I don't plan the lessons at my one school. So, just keep that in mind. And, every school is going to be different that you go to. And so, maybe they'll have you being, preparing more lessons. And maybe they'll have you, just kind of following along with what the Japanese teacher is teaching. So you never really know. Moving right along into junior high. Now, there's different curriculum for different junior high. So different junior highs will decide which books they want to go to. I just grabbed, this is Sunshine 1. This is for first year junior high. So junior high split up into first, second, third year. So if you hear somebody say, oh, my third year students did this, they don't mean third grade as in third grade elementary. They mean third year junior high, so ninth grade, basically. So this is a more, I would say, intensive book. So with High Friends and with elementary school curriculum, you're looking at more listen and repeat type things, a lot of songs, a lot of speaking activities, not so much writing or reading. Now, I try to incorporate some of that stuff into my lessons, but a lot of kids in elementary school still can't do those things. They can't really read, can't really write a whole lot of English, and so you try to, you just do the best you can with the speaking activities. This is junior high, so Sunshine, there's 3 books for Sunshine. My school doesn't even use all 3 books. They use a couple different books, so again, you never know. Your school may vary. Sunshine 1 is 10 chapters, or 10 programs, and it's a little bit more. I'll just flip to a random program here. We'll look at, all right. So, program 6. So yeah, here's basically what this textbook looks like. Now, up here you've got your basic dialogue. Now this is going to introduce whatever grammar, whatever sentences, whatever words or phrases that you're going to be using for that program. It's going to introduce those to your students. And it's always good to have them role play with this, have one kid be, blue, one kid be red, switch off. That way, you get that little conversation in there. Because honestly, junior high is a lot more reading and writing and not a lot of conversation. So you've got students that can read and write English very well, but their speaking ability is not the greatest. Then you go into listen, which is usually, the book that I have is like the student's book, and so it's not the teacher's book. The teacher's book would actually have like the listening dialogue in here. Some teachers will use the CD or CD-ROM or have this on their computer. Some teachers will just say, hey, read this off, and this is just simple matching. You just would read, for this one it's, okay, so it's probably like Meg plays soccer or something. And so then the students have to just match that up. There's a speaking section, which again, I've seen a lot of teachers skip this section, and a try section, which is putting that into practice, what you've just learned. Then into the next part of the lesson, you've got like a story. So each one of these programs tells a story. You never really know kind of where the story is going until the end of the lesson, and everything kind of ties up. So this lesson is all about Sherlock Holmes. So you're talking about Sherlock Holmes, and there's dialogue, and it's all broken up in parts that you can use for speaking. Now, a lot of teachers like to use the English teacher for pronunciation. They like to use the English teacher for dialogue and stuff like that. And so maybe you'll be working on this kind of stuff with your students. And that's pretty much it. There's usually 3 lessons for each program that you go through. And, you know, students in junior high have English 4 times a week. So there's a really good chance that you will only be there for part of the lesson. So you might have a lot of work to do for that lesson. You know, you might be having to tie everything together. You might just be making a worksheet for that section of the lesson. And speaking of worksheets, I actually have one of the worksheets that I've made. And this was for second year junior high. And they were, so I believe, was it yesterday they had tests. So the day before, the teacher came to me and said, hey, can you do some review for this section of the book? Because apparently they were having trouble with that section. So I wrote up a no-frills, very basic review worksheet. And this is basically, there's 4 sentences, and they have to write what their response to this situation is, right? So the example is, Judy looks sick. So what will you do? I'll give her some medicine, right? So then I wrote my own sentences here. He looks very tired. So what will you do? Oh, so some students wrote things like, oh, he's very tired. I'll give him some coffee. Had a lot of kids, oh, I'll give him some chocolate, you know, just things like that. Tomorrow is my father's birthday. So what will you do? I will do this thing. And then at the bottom, and I like to do this on most of my worksheets, is have a section for them to write their own original things. It gets them thinking about how to use, you know, the stuff up here. And since it was a review, you know, they were obviously, you know, I told them, you know, hey, it's, you know, what was this, lesson 7, or program 7. I was like, you know, hey, it's in program 7 if you need help. Obviously I'm here, but if you need to review how to use these things, it's in program 7. So, hopefully, that gives you a little bit of an idea of what the curriculum is that we use in English classes here in Japan. Now, depending on what type of school you're at, or, you know, if you're at an elementary school, or if you're at a junior high, the amount of time that you will be used as an English teacher in the classroom will vary. Like I said, junior high, they have English class 4 times a week. So maybe, depending on the size of your school, you're going to visit a class maybe once a week. If you're at a large school, like I'm at, you'll visit a class once a month. Because there's so many classes that I mean, there's 2 English teachers at my school on top of that. But there's so many classes that it's just impossible for me to visit them more frequently than what it is. So being able to be there on certain days is good for me to help. It kind of gives the Japanese teacher a little bit of a break. I can kind of take more control of the lesson and do my thing. But also, it can be, I mean, I'm not going to say frustrating. It can be a little challenging at times because being able to see the same students over and over and over again, you build a rapport with them. And so if you're not visiting them that often, in the past I've had schools that it was just kind of hard to kind of break through with those students because I was only there once a week, every couple of weeks, you know, so, or every, you know, the spacing between classes was so much so that they just didn't get a chance to really, in my opinion, really kind of get to know who I was, get to understand my teaching skill or style. Yeah, so that's the material that we use, and your schools may vary. Honestly, like I've said in previous videos, you never really know how this school's going to use you or what they're going to actually use you for. Sometimes you'll just stand in the corner of the room and be like a human tape recorder and just kind of read, you know, the basic dialogue in your book. Sometimes you'll be taking more of an active role in teaching the lessons, and sometimes you'll just be in the teacher's office grading papers. So you never really know. But teaching in Japan is a lot of fun, and I really love it. Hopefully, with these videos, you guys can kind of understand and see what we do here in Japan. And if you have any questions or comments, head over to facebook.com/Higgins in Japan, where you can ask me more questions. You can leave me questions or comments here in the bottom of this video. You know how YouTube works. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Have a good one, guys. Peace.